So today, we're going to break down a really significant speech given at the United Nations by Nobel laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus. This is a story about a nation at a turning point, trying to map out a totally new future. Okay, let's get right into it.
You know, this quote right here is really the soul of the entire speech. It sets the tone for everything else. It tells us that this isn't some top-down plan from the government. It's a movement that's being built on the trust and the will of the people. It's a powerful message of hope, and it really sets the stage for a massive transformation.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to tackle this story in 4 parts. First, we'll look at the crisis that started it all. Then we'll dive deep into the blueprint for building a new Bangladesh. After that, we'll check out their call for help from the rest of the world. And we'll wrap it all up with this incredible vision they call the 3 zeros.
All right, first things first. To really get where Bangladesh is headed, you have to understand where it's just been. We need to look at the crisis that became the spark, the catalyst, for this complete overhaul of the nation.
So the country was born back in 1971, founded on these really strong ideals of justice and human dignity. But as Dr. Yunus pointed out, over the past few decades, those core values were just pushed aside again and again. And it all finally boiled over in July of 2024. A huge youth-led movement, which they're calling the July Uprising, actually toppled the authoritarian government. And that moment created this incredibly powerful mandate for the new interim government, not just to fix a few things, but to tear down the old system and rebuild the entire thing from scratch.
And wow, the mess they inherited, it was huge. We're not just talking about a few problems here. The entire structure of the state was broken. Corruption was everywhere, public money was just stolen, looted, human rights abuses were common, and the economy? Dr. Yunus called it terribly fragile. Even development projects weren't really for the people. They were just ways for politicians to get rich. This wasn't just a bump in the road. It was a total systemic collapse.
So you've got this total systemic collapse. What do you do? Where do you even begin? Well, that brings us to the new government's incredibly ambitious plan, a blueprint to rebuild the entire nation literally from the ground up.
And if you want to get a sense of just how serious they are, all you have to do is look at this one number, 11. That's how many new, independent commissions they've set up. And these aren't just for show. They have a massive job to completely reform everything. The courts, the election system, a huge anti-corruption campaign. The whole idea is to build a new system that's so strong, no single leader can ever tear down their democracy again.
When it comes to the economy, they've basically flipped the script entirely. The old way of doing things, projects designed just to siphon off state money, that's gone. The new focus is all about transparency and stability. They're letting the market set the currency exchange rate, and they're sending a clear message to the world. Bangladesh is open for business. They're even setting up one-stop shops for investors and special commercial courts to just cut through all the old bureaucracy. Now, this is absolutely crucial to understanding the future of Bangladesh. Get this, over 60% of the population is under 35. That's an incredible advantage. And the new strategy isn't just about finding them jobs, it's about empowering them to be the ones who create the jobs. They're investing in skills like AI, green technology, and IT to turn this generation of young people into a powerful wave of entrepreneurs and innovators.
And here's something that's a total game changer. For the first time ever, a national survey asked a simple but profound question. What's the economic value of all the unpaid work women do at home? The answer is just staggering. It's equivalent to 16% of the country's entire GDP. Just think about that. And this one number is now driving a huge policy shift to officially recognize that contribution and to really push for women's safety and equality. It's about finally making the invisible visible.
Now, look, you can't pull off a transformation this huge all on your own, right? It's just not possible. So the next part of the speech was a really direct appeal to the rest of the world, asking for partnership on 4 really critical issues.
And the asks were super clear and to the point. Number 1, help us get back the hundreds of millions of dollars that were stolen and hidden in other countries. Number 2, put real pressure on Myanmar to solve the Rohingya crisis, and in the meantime, we need more humanitarian aid before things get even worse in the camps. Number 3, it's time for the world's biggest polluters to finally pay up on their climate finance promises. And 4, let's all work together to protect the open global trade system that's helped so many people.
This quote was a real mic drop moment in the speech. Dr. Yunus made it crystal clear. He said, look, Bangladesh is just doing its duty as a neighbor, but this crisis, this is a global problem. It demands a global solution.
It was a powerful call for shared responsibility, basically saying this burden is too heavy for any one country to carry alone.
And that brings us to the final part of the address, and honestly, it's maybe the most inspiring. This is where he connects all the hard work of national reform to a much bigger, much more hopeful vision for all of humanity.
So what's the end game here? What's the ultimate goal? Well, it boils down to this really powerful idea, a world of 3 zeros. First, zero net carbon emissions, because we have to save the planet. Second, zero wealth concentration, to fight extreme inequality and make sure everyone gets a fair shot. And third, zero unemployment, by unleashing the entrepreneur that he believes is inside every single person. This is the big idea, the North Star that's guiding everything.
So at the end of the day, the message that was presented to the world is a really powerful one. This journey that Bangladesh is on, it's not just their story. They're offering it as a potential model, as a source of hope for tackling the huge challenges that, let's be honest, all of us are facing.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? As the whole world watches Bangladesh try to pull off this incredible transformation, the real question is whether the ideas behind it, empowering young people, demanding accountability, fighting for a fairer world, can actually provide some lessons for the rest of us. It's a story that is definitely far from over.